So as I get ready here to, leave for work, basically board my bus, I thought I'd come on here and basically kind of follow up on a video I did as a reply to Andre Meadows. See, Andre Meadows, aka Black Nerd Comedy, did a video where he basically predicted, what we're bound to see in Sonic 3 and what we could see or would like to see, basically himself, personally, in the third movie, if not some future films. And one of the characters he brought up as a character he would personally like to see in the third film, if not a future film, is Princess Sally, which I'm sure everybody that was watching that was kind of hoping he would, actually mention as a character that could really be utilized in the movies, especially based on, what they've been presenting as of late. And he did bring up some good ideas when it comes to Sally's involvement should it happen. Basically, her being royalty and royalty having maybe a connection with the owls who are the guardians of the emeralds and the echidnas who feel the same way, basically feel like that's their birthright and stuff like that. But the question is, if Jeff Fowler and the creative team, should Jeff Fowler come back, and obviously he will, but the question is, if Jeff Fowler and the creative team, brought Sally in, how would they do it? How would they explain her connection to the owls, to the echidnas? Basically, how would they explain how she fits into all this in the long run? And I thought about this myself. Kind of played it out in my mind a little bit, and that's when it kind of hit me. What if they take a page out of a classic comic book? And the comic book I'm talking about is tied to the Archie Sonic, but was the first spin-off from the Archie Sonic, that of course being the Knuckles book. However, the idea I'm talking about that they could take out of the pages of that book actually occurs in issue 29. That's right, issue 29, which guest stars Sally in the book. Yes, Sally does guest star, crosses over into the Knuckles comic. And it's here where we see a flashback of both Sally and Knuckles playing with each other, not just on the cover of the issue, but also playing with each other, kind of like hiding, sneaking around, listening in to what the fathers would have to say to each other. Because apparently the King Max, that is Sally's dad, or Nigel, depending on which interpretation you look at, would take Sally with him on these little trips, if you will, to Angel Island to meet with Knuckles' father, Locke, to kind of discuss things, I guess pertaining to the future of the kingdom, its protection, stuff like that. And that's how Sally got to know Knuckles as a kid, And I think they even flashed back on this in one of the Sonic Kids issues that they did for a super special around the same time, or if not before. But yeah, if you want to explain, in my opinion, how Sally is involved in all this, what's her connection, you could go that route. And not just with Knuckles either. You can do it with Sonic. You can have it revealed that just like, she was with her father when he would meet with the echidnas, because maybe her father was trying to, create some peace between both sides. You could explain that just like with the echidnas, she met Knuckles when he was a kid, because, the parents were interacting and her father was trying to create peace between both the echidnas and the owls. And you could repeat that same process with it flashing back to him meeting with the owls, mostly with Longclaw, and her meeting up and interacting with a young Sonic. We do see essentially young Sonic, baby Sonic, if you will, Sonic Kid Sonic in the first film. So why not have him interact with a baby Sally, a young, Sonic kid Sally, as well, which is due to the fact that, again, just like the father would do with the echidnas, is because her father would take her with him on these trips, knowing that, hey, there's a young echidna when he would meet with the echidnas. There's a young hedgehog when he would meet with the owls and stuff that she could actually possibly interact with and play with. And, that could also, again, explain, her involvement, how she's connected. And that being the fact that her father, maybe from a story aspect, met, like I said, with both sides, trying to create a peace between the two, when it came to, guardianship of the emerald or watching over the emerald. That might be how she met Knuckles. That might be how she met Sonic. And that would be a great explanation. Basically, keeping that similar connection between the two, besides losing, the parents and everything, keep that similar connection between the two with the fact that they both met Sally. They both know Sally, I should say, because they met her when they were all kids. That could work. That would make a lot more sense. And that would explain her connection and involvement in the entire situation as well. Now, I know some people might say, well, okay, well, that's fine and everything. That makes sense. But we see that there's a certain black hedgehog, if you will, a certain black hedgehog, bit of minor spoilers here, Shadow, at the end of the second film, who's going to be involved as well in the third film, if not future films, and obviously he's inspired by, the species from Sonic's world. How is that playing? How does that play into the entire situation, or how does that factor into possibly Sally being involved and having a connection? And that's a good question. And we could probably find out that perhaps, just like they've done in the Archie books, believe it or not, we could find out that maybe Earth is just another dimension that's been visited by Sonic's kind, or those like Sonic, in the past. And we could find out that, hey, the king, visited here on his own. His daughter, could be one of the trips his daughter couldn't go on. And maybe while he was here, they didn't take a sample of his DNA, but maybe they copied, his structure. Maybe they learned more about his species and all that, and, came up with something. Who knows? Maybe maybe her father met Robotnik's grandfather. We don't know. But you could utilize that as having her involved as well, that, her father knew about the other world, and as she got older, in this interpretation, passed that knowledge on to her, if not downloaded that knowledge to be passed on to her through her portable computer, Nicole. But there are means and ways of getting Sally involved, bring her in, and we'll just have to see which one would suit best. But let me know what your thoughts are. Which option do you think is great to bring her in and explain her connection? And I'll talk to you later.